Hey, good Tuesday evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight for the relentless pursuit of truth, logic, and common sense. And hopefully, you've all survived the time change, the 3 inches of rain, or 3 days and 3 inches of rain, plus or minus. And then, most importantly, the election day and election season has almost come to an end. But anyhow, gentlemen, welcome. We've got with us Representative Adam Niemer, Representative David Freese, and Illinois Freedom Caucus uh, Director Colin Mosley. And sorry for my stumbling here. I'm seeing that we've got also Representative Blaine Wilhauer joining us. Welcome, man. What's going on?
Nothing much. Just living the dream after the red wave.
After the red wave. Yeah, well, that's what we're here to talk about. So why don't we get into the slide set real quick? And
glad to see that Blaine paid his phone bill.
Yeah, I did. We'll see how long this holds up because I'm running out of power as we're speaking here, physically and mentally here.
All right, well, I'm trying to figure out the best way to put us all on this screen here. It looks like I don't know what the best way is. So anyhow, tonight we're going to talk about the big win for Republicans across the nation. And guess what? The work is not done yet. So to that point, the next slide is here we go. Donald Trump was elected, and we just heard a while ago that was it Nevada that was added?
Alaska for sure.
Okay, yep. So that we're well over 300 electoral votes. So big night. What's gentlemen? I'll just open it up for your thoughts and discussion on how you saw things play out last night into the wee hours. I think didn't President come on about 1:30 a.m. this morning and give his speech?
Well, hey, Brad, next time I hear a puny Republican in the state of Illinois or anywhere in this country say that Donald Trump has ruined the Republican Party, I think that they need to be more than repudiated, all right? Okay, we're looking at a situation right now where Donald Trump's going to win the popular vote. All right. And that's extremely significant in so many ways. They haven't done it since 2004. That's 20 years for the folks in Niemer would appreciate this, Rio Linda. That's 20 years. All right. Okay. It's only the second time since 1988. That was when George Herbert Walker Bush first ran. So, I think that we can effectively put to bed the narrative that Donald Trump's ruining the Republican Party. And I think that there's a lot more Republicans in states like Illinois who, hey guys, we're sitting here in single digits in Illinois. If you would have told this group that we're going to be in single digits for Trump in Illinois, and we don't pick up any seats or we don't really see any of the red wave stuff here in Illinois, I think that that's a big problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Blaine, I think that you're hitting the nail on the head there. This is something I've been thinking about all last night. And also today, you look at the numbers, Trump's numbers, they're going to come in basically 51-47. I mean, this is not a deep blue state. And these numbers are looking closer and closer and closer. Every time Trump is on the ballot in Illinois, he's narrowing that gap. And something that frustrates me is when you have Republicans running away from Donald Trump. And had the Republican establishment in this state listened to us about how to effectively run campaigns and how to win these seats, we'd have picked up seats. But it was a situation where, the status quo is not good enough. 40 seats is not good enough. And for everybody to run away from Trump, to turn their backs on him, and then not be able to pick up seats when the rest of the country did, just because of whatever reason they want to say they're never Trumpers, is absolutely ridiculous. So, you look at the numbers, you look at what Trump's done, you look at the popular vote, the establishment couldn't win the popular vote. You look at the Electoral College, you look at the swing states, you look at the MAGA movement, you look at populism, you look at how Trump has brought everybody together when the Democrats want to play identity politics and split everybody apart. It's such an amazing movement. And I'm deeply frustrated with my own party in Illinois and Republicans that we're not able to pick up seats, that the game plan was flawed with the Never Trump movement.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, and Representative Freeze, these guys have put out some good points, but we see like we are joined by Representative Leader Chairman Miller. But before he starts in, maybe we'll give you the floor, and then we'll go to Representative Leader Chairman Miller.
Yeah, I was just looking at that map that we had previously. Illinois is red top to bottom. We've got blue dots. We should have picked up some seats. It's really unfortunate. Blaine and Adam hit the nails on the head. It's really hard to explain and hard to justify not moving forward.
Yeah, exactly right. And fresh back from the celebration, Representative Leader Chairman Miller, what's your thoughts on the events of the day and the evening last night?
Well, it's great to be here tonight. It was great to be able to.
There he goes.
Yep.
They've got to him. They've got to him already.
Of course.
Well, if you haven't seen, if you've seen his social media, Chairman Miller was with the president last night, so he's probably a little jet lagged, and he was able to be a part of that victory celebration.
Yeah,
I think it's a Chinese conspiracy. They won't blame him on the Tricoms.
well, hopefully he'll get back on. His screen's still there, but he's not there. Well, let's go into the.
There he is.
There he is. All right,
Hello, Chris.
Miller, go ahead.
I think that I am off the clock.
You're
Chris,
live.
You're alive, Chris.
Well, like Adam said, Chris and Mary were down with the president, which is a pretty cool opportunity for a chairman of the State Freedom Caucus and of course, his wife, the Congresswoman in the House Freedom Caucus. I'll tell you what, that movement is alive and well, too. So we're pretty excited to see conservatives win all across the country.
Yeah, exactly.
And folks, this is a situation where, we're talking about a little bit of the issues with our own party in the state of Illinois, not failure to pick up seats. You still need to understand this was huge. And one thing you really need to understand is everybody that's watching, that supports us, you were right. The establishment was wrong and you were right. So just let this sink in. House, Senate, Trump back in the White House. This is really amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, gentlemen, here's the next slide. This talks about the balance of power in Congress. We've taken the majority in the Senate. Looks like we're going to hold on to the majority in the House. I'll just throw this open, and you guys can comment on this any way you like.
Well, it's obviously huge, Brad. Trump is going to be in there, and he's going to have a Senate that is not only a majority, but if some of these races shake out like maybe they do, and you get up to 53, 54, maybe even 55 folks, we can really get some stuff done, and then the pressure is going to be on the president to enact the agenda. And we love Trump, and we're extremely supportive. But this is a moment where we have got to take maximum advantage, because I think all the pieces are there to do it. And that's where all the folks come in, to make sure that we are, because the president's going to have a lot of, the swamp's not dead, all right. I mean, we put a big stake in progressivism last night, woke progressivism, but it's not dead, and those people aren't going to go quietly. So it's up to the folks to continue to hold the feet to the fire.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. They're just going to take a step back. They're going to regroup, and they'll bring the next wave. We have got to stand firm, and we have got to push back on this craziness.
It's such an opportunity, folks. It's just an amazing opportunity. And, Blaine, you alluded to the Senate pickup. That's huge as far as his cabinet, as far as Trump's cabinet, as far as appointees, everybody he wants to put in place. Because if you remember in 2016, it took a long time to get some of his appointments through, and he wasn't able to get a few people through. So having the Senate and having a buffer in the Senate is huge. And I think that Trump has learned a lot over the last several years. And this administration, what he's going to do, I think it's going to be truly amazing. But yes, Blaine, you're absolutely right. It's an opportunity that has to, we have to capitalize on it, because in 4 years, if we, Republicans don't pass bills protecting women in sports, if there's bills that aren't out there with tax cuts, if they're not ready to hit the road on this, and we've got some serious issues.
I totally agree. Go
And
ahead.
don't forget about the Supreme Court. I mean,
Right.
Clarence Thomas is not a young man, and he could step down instead of dying there on the bench, and Trump can replace another nice conservative justice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Alito as well. He's an older
Right.
guy.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a chance to replace two. And it's funny. I think we heard the Democrats say the last few months that we need more justices. I wonder if they still share that sentiment now that we've taken the
Well,
Senate.
did you see
White House.
Babylon B? Democrats call for the rejection of the removal of the popular vote.
Yeah, I think maybe they've changed their mind here in the last 24 hours. If you want more justices, we'll give it to you.
Yes. Yeah. Pile on.
Now's
But
the
no, I
opportunity.
totally agree with the sentiment that this also should mean taking the House should mean no more funny business on impeachment garbage. I mean, President Trump was kneecapped by people who totally were lost in this delusion of impeachment, and that should not happen this time. So hopefully we're unhindered in the progress to make America great again by the House this time around as well.
Yeah, and the DOJs are already they're removing the special prosecutor already because that's a joke.
Just like that, huh, David?
Yeah, that was one of the highlights of my day when I heard that. I was just awesome because everybody knows, if you want to be honest, that all these prosecutions they were just to try and chase him out so he wouldn't run again, bully him out of trying to run for president.
Yeah.
Hey, Bradley.
It's amazing.
Bradley, hey, what I want to know is how does Trump get in single digits in Illinois, but it's like too close to call in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
How does that how does that work? How are we in single digits in New Jersey? Hey, I don't know. I may be taking this off into a different course here, but how are you in single digits and all that? Why does every state that's not a swing state shift significantly to the right?
Right.
And all the swing states are like, too close
Yeah.
to call.
Yeah, that's a great question. And that was kind of the discussion there at 11, 12 o'clock last night, why it wasn't working differently than it was. So that's going to be studied for some time.
I guess we've just been so burdened, which is true. We have. But,
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, let's talk about something closer to home. And that's how we did in the state of Illinois on some of our state house races. And it looks like there's all of us won our races last night, but we've got a couple of colleagues, Republican Amy Grant and Republican Marty McLaughlin. They're still 500 votes away on Amy. Marty's about 900 votes away. So that one's still waiting on the vote by mail to come in. I'll just kind of open that up for discussion.
Can you blow that up, Brad? Make it a little bigger.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can do is do this.
Perfect.
Hope that helps.
Good. I don't think enough can be said for these two representatives. They're in, up there in much more difficult territory than we are, and they make it a point to do the right thing when it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And we need a lot more of that in politics. So I'm really, really happy that things are trending in the right direction for Amy and Marty. And hopefully they'll join us back down in Springfield. It looks like there's a pretty good chance that they will, and that's kind of against the odds because these people were directly targeted, and they were targeted in part because they're pretty friendly to us.
Mm-hmm. Well, these are definitely great conservative representatives from their respective areas. They're outspoken when things are wrong. They try to right that. They try to speak accordingly. And so there are great voices for their districts and for Illinois and the conservative movement. So hopefully they will keep the lead and come back.
Yeah, these two will be, if they don't make it, they'll be missed without a doubt. We need them in Springfield.
Yeah, Jed Davis had a little bit of a contest, but he comes out clearly ahead on that one. So that's good. He's a member of the Freedom Caucus. What's his town, gentlemen? I can never remember what his town is.
Yorkville, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, could be. Yeah. And so here's some more on some close calls that finally came together overnight in the House. And so we have Representative Smith
Yeah.
in the kind of I guess that's still Metro East, or it has part of Metro East, St.
Oh,
Louis.
it's a huge part of
It's
Metro
all
East.
Metro East.
Yeah, it's got East St. Louis, it's got Centerville, it's got Cahokia. It does go to Millstown, which is a little further out, but still, Kevin probably worked harder than anybody else on the ballot, from what I understand. I mean, he worked hard. I was actually in the district, going to different polling places yesterday, talked to a lot of different people, and then some Democrats that actually voted for him. So what they told me is LaToya Greenwood did not represent them well. They have very long memories. So I think Kevin earned that seat. He really did.
Yeah, so LaToya Greenwood was in that seat and then redistricting, and then Smith won that away from her in the redistricting year. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
And then the 112, just kind of to the north and east of that, is currently held by Katie Stewart. Jay Keevan challenged her and looks like came up a little bit of short there. But again, another race that should be probably a Republican district. But for some reason, we have a far leftist Democrat in there that likes to think it's okay to have non-gendered bathrooms and tampons in boys' bathrooms and the like. Gentlemen, any thoughts there?
And cannot define a woman.
Can't define a woman.
Brad,
Extremely
that's,
woke, and she's so very woke on the social issues, and that kind of goes back to what I was discussing earlier. Is we need to attack those issues. Trump attacks those issues. He talks about those issues. We're not the Republican Party of 1985. That's just not the case. We've had so many issues. We're such a diverse party on these issues that we need to be talking about these things. And Katie Stewart is a person that is extremely, extremely woke on the social issues. So that's the things we should be talking about.
Right. And then the 104 is East Central Illinois. That's Champaign County, Vermilion County. Adam, you represent part of that same county to the south of this area where Brandon Schweizer. And so, of course, Champaign County did their usual election day. What do you call that? What do you, in the poll, you can't vote for 2-3 hours yesterday morning?
Incompetency.
Incompetence, yes. I mean, you've got Champaign County, a radical progressive liberal is a clerk in Champaign County, and his wife is the state representative in part of Champaign County as well. So go figure with what's happening there. But Brandon, David, you talked about Kevin working very hard. Brandon worked very, very hard as well. I don't know how many doors he knocked, but it was every time I talked to him, he'd say, "Hey, Adam, hold on, I'm knocking a door." And he worked very hard. And I want to give him a lot of credit because this district in redistricting was drawn in such a way for the Dems to take this seat. Mm-hmm. And he came on understanding that, not only understanding it, but really hitting the ground running and worked his tail off to get this victory. And the Dems put a lot of money with a very woke candidate that tried to come across as middle of the road. So Brandon did an excellent job.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what happened in a lot of these races back to McLaughlin's and Amy Grant. I mean, the Dems were pouring hundreds of thousands of dollars in these races, maybe a long time, and then maybe more recently near the end of the election season. And so they went up on TV and just bashed the Republican candidate beyond belief, and it was all about abortion for them. Boy, and it's just really tough. They're so well funded, the Democrats are, and to overcome that cash, it's just a yeoman's task.
When we have a pretty clear indication, you brought up, the issues they're talking about, and whether or not those issues being the ones they discussed, and then them winning those districts, we know they're out of touch because it's been made very clear by the people of the United States that they cared about the economy and immigration. And so the Democrats are completely out of touch, whether the crazy Illinois far lefts understand that or not. Immigration and cost of living are the things that have projected Republicans to be in charge in D.C. And so it's time that the people in Illinois realize what we needed to be delivering for our taxpayers here.
Well, it's funny how the Illinois Democrats, like you say, don't want to talk about those things that really ran the election last night nationally. They just want to talk about killing the unborn. I mean, it's just insane. Hey, the last one here on our chart is 76th. Gentlemen, I believe this was an open seat. I'm not sure who was in this seat prior, but looks like the Democrat is going to come out a little bit on top on this one by 2%.
It's
Was
that's
that
that's a
Lance's?
Lance Yednock's
Yednock.
district,
So
which he was a working class Democrat union guy. This is the absolute seat that we should have been in a position to pick up, because that's the Trump voter right there, and I that speaks to a generational deal with the Republican Party just being so weak that you're just not in a position to take advantage of a wave election like we seen last
Right.
night.
Right.
yeah, so this race is interesting, just because this is where my wife is from, that area, so I have a lot of extended family up there. So Lance Yednock, kind of a two-way. He was an operator, a lot of union ironworking affiliations up in the Illinois Valley. These guys are pro two-way, and they're tired of the woke garbage in schools. Okay, so these guys are a lot of big hunters. They naturally they should tend to go more Trump, with Trump's message. Now, DeKalb was wrapped into this district during the remap, and it made it a little bit tougher. But you look at these numbers, and as Blaine mentioned, it's a situation where this seat, with what happened yesterday, should have been picked up had the messaging been done properly and the Trump message been put out there. I can tell you it's a big 2A district. I can tell you that illegal immigration is a very big issue in that area. Everything that Trump was putting out on his messaging fit that district. And to see this be so close and yet slip through the fingers is, again, frustrating, because of the never Trumpers in our party that feel like Trump is a detriment. Yet, in all reality, the only reason we still have 40 seats is because of Donald Trump.
Yeah, Adam, that's a you know why they were skittish in that district for going hard on Trump. It's because of DeKalb, because of the university there, and I think there's a story to be told there. When they were talking about the huge turnout in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia and all these places, that was the college campuses that they were turning out there. And Trump didn't run away from his message with those folks. He went straight on, went straight to the issues that you were talking about, and Colin was talking about the economy and immigration, and just sick and tired of the nonsense. We've got to stop being so scared. We can't talk about issues that are important in that district because Northern Illinois University is there, and they've got some of their wokesters might come out and vote against us because we do. That's nonsense. I think that if you take that head on, and you really drive the message, I think that's worth a couple points there, don't you?
Right.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And that's something that we've talked about for a very long time. Is you talk about these issues, you hit them head on, you make a clear distinction between us and them, and you're going to win. And last night you would have won, but there's just too many people that are just scared of their own shadow, scared to talk about these issues. And we see it all the time, guys, don't we? I mean, we see it on the floor with these issues. Everybody just gets so scared. And it's a situation where they just need to leave that behind and start believing in what's right and actually talking about these issues.
Yeah, and I think one of the issues that we, with the college being there, we can talk about men playing in women's sports. Oh my gosh, we should never shy away from that.
Go right into it. Well, Charlie Kirk goes to these campuses. Vivek Ramaswamy went totally viral with he and Charlie Kirk just 3 weeks ago. They go into these places. They seek this stuff out. So we should be doing the same thing.
Yeah,
draw distinctions where you can draw distinctions, that are going to be popular with a wide swath of people, especially given the situation that we're in right now.
Yeah.
But you got to be fearless if you're going to do it, and you got to be willing. You got to be willing to take the
you're going to take some arrows
and possibly lose.
Right.
But you're going to lose anyway if you don't.
That's right.
Yep, true.
You're taking fire, you're over the target. And David, to your point, I'm looking forward to seeing what Riley Gaines gets accomplished with the Trump White House and the Republican majority in Congress, because I think it's high time that our federal government start protecting women and girls in sports and private spaces. That needs to be a week one agenda item. We've seen it here in Illinois. The Freedom Caucus, you guys have been the number one fighters for it right here in Illinois. It's time that it goes national and we protect these girls.
Yeah, it cracks me up. Here we are, a bunch of middle-aged men, and we're the defenders of women's rights.
I don't identify as middle-aged.
What the hell is going on here?
I'm 23 for the record.
What's the cutoff for middle age, David?
I know I'm probably past that age too.
Yeah. But I mean, just like my wife
trying to make Brad feel better.
Yeah, my wife will say, she'll say, "What is the deal? Like, this doesn't make any sense. The Democrat Party makes no sense. That you claim to be pro-women, yet you got these dudes knocking other girls out in boxing matches and swim meets and walking around locker rooms naked. How is that for women's rights?"
Yeah. I've been hearing today that the election was the most brutal attack by a man on a woman since the U.S. Olympic since the Olympics. But you're right, and this is the same Democrat Party that tells me that we can't have an opinion on life without a uterus, but of course I can be a woman without one. And thank God that we have a president that knows that men can't have babies. I mean, what an accomplishment in our country.
Yeah, this is a conversation I just had with my wife. It's like, okay, so if the only people who can comment on things that deal with the military is if you've served in the armed forces. No, that's not how this works.
Right.
Everybody should be able to opine on everything.
Yeah. Hey, and just for the record, before we move on, this has been great discussion. Just to let you know, I am halfway through the middle trimester of my life. So if that helps understand where middle age is right there. Hey, so here's our last slide for the evening. We thank you guys for taking time to be with us as we close out our evening. And this is how you find us on the web at the IllinoisFreedomCaucus.org. And if you want to join the fight, there's a donate button. And of course, our communication tool is there on the Substack. Colin, anything you want to add to this before we close out the evening?
No, just that Substack is the place to go for the conservative message out of the State House in Illinois. It's where we outline all of these guys on here, their accomplishments and their successes as they fight for you in your state capital.
Right. And as Leader Chairman Miller, you will find the unvarnished truth there and on our website. So, and I know we got some events hopefully planned here later this fall or early next spring, depends on how things go. I know we go back to Springfield next Tuesday for veto session. For that little programming note, we start back for 2 weeks of veto session. I don't think there's any bills. What's that?
6 days.
6 days. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a Democrat work week right there.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're not starting until 3 o'clock Tuesday. So yeah, they get it figured out. But they have a long drive in, right? So unlike David Freese, it has a short jaunt. Those guys, yeah. So anyhow, gentlemen, let's go Niemerg and Freese and Will Howard to close our evening out, and then we'll say goodnight. So Adam, any closing thoughts real quick?
Thank you, Brad. Yeah, folks, this has just been unbelievable, just so epic to see this happen, to see the House, the House, Senate, what the president did last night, and to see all the libs just melting down. It's just been absolutely amazing to watch. It's actually better to watch than 16. This is just awesome. Don't get too down about Illinois politics. We got our work cut out for us here, and you've seen that. But you see that Trump made tremendous inroads, and you know our message, you know what we stand for, and we are making inroads with our party, and we will get there. But it's going to take a little bit of time for us to pick up seats and to get the messaging out the way we want it out. So just keep the faith. We'll keep plugging away. Thank you so much for your support. And next January, it's going to start happening.
Yeah, great comments. Representing Freese.
Yeah, ditto. Just great points. One of the things I'd like to add is don't forget about your local races. Here in Randolph County, where I'm at, we had 4 contested races. All 4 Republicans won. Clean sweep on that. It's amazing. So we're looking for some really, really good times here in Randolph County. I know Perry County, they picked up the circuit clerk's office. Monroe County, I don't think they had a contested person race. It was amazing because they've scared all the Democrats away. So stay active in your local politics. That's where it all starts. School board on up.
Right, exactly. And let's go to Representative Wilhauer, and then I'm going to throw it back to Colin Mosley to close us out. So, Wilhauer.
Hey, big night can't be understated. The impact of that, but the fight's just begun, guys. I mean, winning an election is one thing, but actually governing is another. It's going to take strength. It's going to take perseverance. We're going to have a lot of things against us, both on the national level and on the state level. These people aren't going to go quietly, and you're going to see some crazy stuff here in Illinois as they try to combat some of the stuff that the voters clearly gave President Trump a mandate to institute. So stay tuned. The Illinois Freedom Caucus is standing in the breach as always.
Yeah. State Director Mosley, any thoughts before we go?
I'm with Blaine. That's why he's my state rep. No, I mean, he's totally right. Illinois.
Hey, Colin. Hey, I almost forgot about this. Thank you for mentioning the 110th district. I think that we're on a pretty good trajectory to continue our reign as the #1 Trump district in the state of Illinois. So the results aren't fully in on that, but the 110th is in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, well, as it should be. And we rejected a woke candidate in the primary, and now we got Donald Trump in the general. And so you're absolutely right. But just to finish that point, the Illinois Democrats are going to try to declare war on Donald Trump in the General Assembly because they are going to be vengeful of his success. And J.B. Pritzker, of course, is going to be a sore loser. And so we just need to be ready to fight that. And please keep tuning in here to the Freedom Caucus as we fight for truth, logic, and common sense in the Puzzle Palace Bad Idea Factory in Springfield.
Exactly right. And so hopefully nobody was to the point of putting armor plate on our dozers getting ready for this battle that lies ahead. But there will be a battle, and we need your help. We need your support. Again, those dollars that you send us, we spend those in the right places, again, to keep that conservative movement going across the state of Illinois as we continue to travel and move forward. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's close out the evening and say good night, and we'll talk to you real soon, hopefully sometime next week. See ya.